Here we are again, another episode of Hard Shop Life. G-Man, I'm not doing this right. This is Coach Jay. This is Coach Jay, and I'm here with the G-Man for another episode of Hard Shop Life, right, G-Man?
That's right. That's right.
Are you going to do your little intro?
Well, we have a special guest with us today, and so this intro is really appropriate.
Bro, come on. Don't tell me that you're getting a little shy. You're getting a little shy now? You do a little shy? Come on, bro. You do it every time.
All right, here we go. Ready? Here we go. This is Howard Cosell. Welcome to ABC's Wide World of Sports.
See, that was a good intro. Okay,
and
so
see, let me tell you about Howard Cosell, and you people out there, Google him. He was phenomenal. He was a lawyer. He was a radio jock down in Miami. He comes into the National Football League, and he was the star of the first Monday Night Football. And he had Don Meredith on there with him, and Frank Gifford, and I came and joined him when I retired from football. And he was a bigger-than-life personality.
He was.
And a genius communicator. He made Monday Night Football without question. He was better than all the rest of us. Didn't have the skills of understanding the game at our level, but didn't matter. He was an entertainer, and he was brilliant. And I had so much fun. I did Monday Night Football for 4 years. And I really challenge you, go Google Howard Cosell and see he's a bigger-than-life human being, and you'll get a lot out of it.
See, G-Man,
sure.
you're emulating somebody who's bigger than life as a character.
Finally,
you're doing a
I've been
good
doing
job,
this
buddy.
for 50 episodes. Finally,
Good
somebody
job.
understands Howard Cosell.
Yeah, so Fran Tarkenton had to come on here to let you know how big of a guy you were emulating. Good job, buddy.
That's right.
All right, well, this is Hard Shop.
Hey, I'm Coach Jay.
I'm the G-Man.
We've built this podcast for the hardworking men and women of the automotive community.
Some of you will listen and be entertained.
Others will listen and apply.
Our purpose is to provide both.
Welcome to the Hard Shop Life.
Well, first of all, Fran, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you today. We're all super excited, and it's a huge honor to meet a great person like yourself. And to really be brutally honest, one of the things that really inspired me to really ask Amanda for this opportunity was you're a businessman. You're a very successful businessman. And I know you have huge accolades in football, and it's unbelievable what you've done. But to hear the stories of what you've been able to accomplish as a business leader and a businessman and an entrepreneur, which is what we are. I mean, that was our dream. Really resonated in both of us. And I wanted to have the opportunity to ask you. We're talk a little bit of football, but more importantly, I really am focused on leadership.
Yep.
How people can really better lead their teams as coaches and consultants ourselves. I call ourselves coaches more than anything. I don't like the whole consultant thing, but in regards to coaching, it's really mentoring players, people, business people, to be able to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish, and sometimes they don't know how.
Well, that's a good way to start here, because the separation point of people in business, sports, education, politics is leadership and working well with people and understanding that no matter how great you are, or you think you are, or how much you've accomplished, that the biggest asset a leader has is he's willing to be mentored. I'm 81 years old. I started 24 businesses.
Wow.
Made them work, doing more things, bigger things today than we've ever done. And I am more vulnerable to being mentored than ever before, because I, at my age, do not have the knowledge base of understanding all the technology that's changing every day. But I need to understand that. Now, let me give your people out there a visual. And let's take it to the GOAT of quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League, Tom Brady. And Tom Brady was a 6th-round draft choice from Michigan. If you're a 6th-round draft choice, that means the scouts of all the NFL teams think you cannot play. He's not at Alcorn State. He's at Michigan, and he didn't even start all the time at Michigan. And Bill Belichick was the guy that drafted him in the 6th round. That means they don't think you can play. He, the first year, didn't play. They had a guy named Drew Bledsoe who was 6'4", big cannon arm, and And Brady never got in. He was on the so-called taxi squad.
Yeah.
The second year, the only reason Brady got into the game to play is Bledsoe got hurt.
Yeah.
He gets in, and they won a Super Bowl that year. And this, we're talking about maybe the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
So now he goes down to Tampa Bay, Florida, and the offensive coordinator is Byron Leftwich.
Right.
A journeyman player at best, right?
Right.
He's 5 years younger than Tom Brady, and here comes Tom Brady with all his Super Bowl rings. You know what Tom Brady said to Byron Leftwich? He said, Byron, I want you to coach me. I want you to coach me to help me get the best out of our offense and our players. So what he said, it's not about me. In business, you see it, and our people we're talking to see it. Leave your ego at home.
Man,
there's no place for ego here. Great leaders, you want to play for great leaders. The separation point of quarterbacks in football, all of them, they come in, 32 teams. If they're drafted in the National Football League, they can all play.
Yeah.
They can all throw the ball. They got a brain. They can read defenses. They can do all those things. But yet we only see 4 or 5 at one time that really are sure bets. And what's this? What's the separation? They don't even know it themselves. The separation is they're leaders. They own the locker room. They're the highest paid, most publicized players, but they don't use that in the locker room. They know that these players, they need them to block for them, catch for them, run for them, play defense, get the ball back to them, and they got to own that locker room. And the only way you own any locker room or any boardroom is if you are authentic and you have their best interests and you are their biggest supporters and they love you because you are trying to make them better. Now, it's not a difficult thing, but in my 81 years, and I've been in business since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And you know my first business was at 5 years old? I was in Washington, D.C.
Paper route?
Nope.
No.
That was my second one at 7 years old. in Washington, D.C. But at 5 years old, there was a Safeway grocery stores in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived about 2 blocks from one of the Safeway stores. So on the weekends, I'd take my little wagon, pull it down there because the little ladies would go and shop at that. They walked to the supermarket. Not today, but they did then. And they had this bag, so they put the bags on my little wagon, and I'd pull that wagon to their house.
No kidding.
No way.
Now, how much money did they give me? Maybe a nickel or a dime or 15 cents. And then the paper route came at 7, but I went out and I made money.
Yeah.
And I did something that was worthwhile so I could go buy bubblegum cards with the football players.
Right.
So, but it's not difficult.
Yeah.
You do not learn this at Harvard. My son went to Harvard. He went to Princeton before Harvard. And he comes out of Harvard. He's had all the great professors, all the great this and all the great this and da-da-da-da-da. And then he got a job with a broker-dealer here in Atlanta. And it didn't work. So they didn't want to come work for me. It didn't work. I fired him. I paid him a salary. I said, I don't know what I spent money at Princeton and Harvard Business School. He had no understanding after those experiences how to run a business.
Wow.
And you don't learn it at college. Those professors at Harvard and Princeton and my alma mater, Georgia, they never ran a company. They just haven't.
It's all theory, isn't it?
It's theory. It's not practicality. And you look at the modern day great businessmen from Bill Gates to the deceased one from Steve Jobs,
Mm-hmm.
to Michael Dell. What's their one thing in common? If they went to college, they only went for a semester. They didn't go to college.
Right.
And the Apple guy, Steve Jobs, he was adopted, and he went to college. They saved up money for him, and he went to one semester, 1 quarter of some college in Northern California, and he came back to him. I quit. I don't want to waste your money that you saved.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and start working. That's how you learn to be a business person. You go out and you learn from mentors, but learning never stops. But it stops for so many people because now I am president of the company, or I'm sales manager of the company, or I'm the top this of the company, so I must be great. And when you get to the point, sports, life, business, I am great, you're going to get knocked down.
Yeah.
And you could then go have to learn how you get up. That's another gift.
You got to be careful getting your feet up on the desk and getting too comfy because there's somebody around the corner just waiting to eat your lunch, right? Basically,
Well,
stay
it's
sharp.
a matter if, I was 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. I was a 3rd round draft choice. And I never was scared of competing of anybody at quarterback. 3rd round, they don't expect you to make it. We had 6 quarterbacks in training camp. 2 of them were NFL veterans. And I never thought about how good or bad. I never thought about them. I thought about it. How do I go out and make this play work? How do I build the trust of my offensive line and my receivers and my running backs where they trust me? And they trust me if I treat them with dignity. They trust me if I involve them in what I'm thinking. That receiver knows more about wide receivers than I do. I'm under center to play quarterback. Now they're in the shotgun. I can't see what they're doing to that receiver every play. I've got a right tackle, Ron Yeri, who's an all-pro. He's Hall of Famer. I cannot see, once the ball is snapped, how he's doing against his defensive end, whether he's able to block him in, block him out, block him on. So if I don't know that, wouldn't it be good of me, since I'm calling the plays? It's 3rd and 1, Ron Yeri. Can you get me a yard? I included him in that. And 100% of the time he says yes. I said, do you want me to run outside your right shoulder or inside your left shoulder? That's the only choices I have. And he'd tell me. Because he knew which way he could take that defensive lineman, and playing the LA Rams was Deacon Jones.
Yeah.
But if Deacon Jones was going to either take his outside away or take his inside away, he could tell me which way he'd take him out. I can't remember ever not doing that. Yeah. I'd get to the sidelines, Ahmad Rashad. And Ahmad Rashad, everybody knows him today, even though he played then. And he was a guy that the teams gave up on. We picked him up in the Vikings as a free agent. And he's 26, 27 years old. But I became his best friend because he had unbelievable talent. But I talked, and I didn't say Ahmad like Brady did, mentor me. Tell me what you want to do. Tell me what you can do. Tell me what patterns you like the best. Do you like the post, the corner, the this, or that? I want to make you better. It's not about me, the leader. It's not about me, the GOAT. It's about me making my teammates better. Now, how does that relate to business? It's everything. All sports does is just gives us a framework. We see it. But in business, so many people tell me, a woman who's got a big, big responsibility in a big, big company, and she's president of a big division, and she told me she was going to leave. How could you leave this company? I hate bosses. I hate my boss. I said, you hate your boss? Yeah, I don't want to work here. They're going to lose a talent here, right? But People get to be bosses. And my job is to, take the Lombardi. He always gets blamed for himself. Lombardi, he yells and screams and drives these guys. Lombardi yelled and screamed. That was his personality. But he embraced his players. His players would kill for him. Every great coach is the same. Even a Belichick with no personality. My friend Nick Saban has been a better winning coach. And these are all great, great leaders. And they're great leaders not because they're X's and O's or their IQ. They're great leaders because they win the locker room. Mm-hmm. And if you can't win the locker room, you can't be a great coach. And if you can't win the locker room, you can't be a quarterback. The separation between the 4 or 5 that really can play at any time period and the other of the 32 that cannot play, it's all about the locker room. It's all about leadership. It's all about caring. It's all about being transformational, open, not have all the answers. And when that happens and you have that kind of rapport with your people, good things can happen.
I want to turn that into a T-shirt. Win the locker room.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that saying.
Well,
that's
that's what you've got. That is absolutely the truth. Because I have coaches call me all the time about quarterbacks. God, I can't, this guy, he can throw, he can run. I'll ask him, do they study? Do they really understand the plan? Are they involved in it? Oh, yeah. Then I ask, do they own the locker room? Not really. I said, then you got a problem. Either they can change themselves to be able to own that locker room, or you're not going to win with them. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to do that. I don't know if I've ever seen one that could not own the locker room. Sometimes we want to change them, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's hard to do.
Do you think that's ego or is that...
I don't know. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't
work.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just, we all say, what's the reason for that?
Yeah.
What's the psychological reason? Did his dad beat him up all the time? His mother, it doesn't matter. Does he come from a broken home or not? That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I know one thing. If they don't own the locker room when they come into my team and they don't have that right kind of thing, it's not about me. It's about my teammates. I got to own that locker room because I cannot win this game by myself.
Yeah.
I need these teammates to play for me 100%. And then it's going to be tough because it's only 32 teams. All of them share the same draft picks and this and that, and all of them have the same films to watch and strategize and all that stuff. The difference is not the strategy and the plays. Do you, quarterback, own that locker room? Do you, head coach, own that locker room? And if you don't say yes, not going to work. And if it's no, it'll never work.
So it's, Gary and I had really enjoyed one of your keynote speeches. And one of the things you talked about is sitting on the bench and having this, you say it's one of your maxims, being in desperation, right? And the thing is it resonated with both of us because we were thinking, and questions we had for you is when you have that mindset, what did you have to do to transfer that mindset of desperation to an entire team to get the results you wanted, not only on the field, but also in business?
Yeah, in business, we're taught not to feel desperate.
Right.
When I can remember 7 years old and my paper out, when I woke up at 13 years old and being the quarterback for the Athens High Trojans, or when I was 21, quarterbacking the expansion team Minnesota Vikings, later taking those teams to Super Bowls, being in business all my life. And people say, well, after football, you got in business. I was in business at 7 years old, 5 years old. And I had jobs every off season. I built maybe 15 companies in the off seasons.
Wow.
But I then and now, every morning, wake up with a sense of desperation. And that's a positive thing. I've got a reason to come to this office.
Mm-hmm.
I got a reason to have conversation with you guys. I have a reason to go talk to any and everybody I can to help me get better and help us get better. And how could we make our product services better how do we reach more people? How do we educate them and get them to look at who we are and the authenticity that we have and our really will to really help you and be an asset to you. And when you can get out of the selfish me, which if you're a leader, you got to do that.
Yeah.
And my focus is my teammates, both in business and in sports. And that goes to also my customers and prospects.
Mm.
If I'm just trying, I tell people, I don't believe in selling. Oh gosh, you're a great salesman. Yeah, I am a great salesman, but I don't believe in selling. I came out of college and I went to these seminars, and these are a bunch of hucksters, but they're sales seminars. And then, you got a hard close, you got a soft close, and how do you answer objections and how you do this. That's the whole thing. It's not about, does my product is it right for you? Maybe it's not right for you, but I got Billy Bob who has down the street. He's got a product that may be right for you. Let me call him up and introduce you. You ever heard of a salesman doing that? No. They want to manipulate you. And if you buy 1 pound of stuff, I want to sell you 5 pounds of stuff, whether you need it or whether you don't. So I don't go to sales training.
So you, in your book, and this is a little off topic or the topics that we had, but just it's on this subject. In your book, you talk about you had the ticket business where you did advertising on the ticket folders, which I thought was brilliant. Yeah. And then you said you set up an office in the Waldorf in New York, and you and a partner went to work selling.
Marvin Bluenstein.
Back then, too, you're closing $100,000 deals with these companies. Like how are you doing that without selling?
Well, here's how I did that. I was out of football. I was doing That's Incredible. I was doing Monday Night Football, and I was doing That's Incredible to make money on ABC. I did Monday Night Football to make money to invest in my businesses. Because that's what I was in since I was 5 years old. Mm-hmm. Never stopped. And so I'm on a plane coming back from Hawaii, and I look at my ticket jacket. We had ticket jackets back then.
I was telling him, he's a little young for
this. But you have these big ticket jackets, and in that ticket jacket, everybody had to have your ticket in that jacket, and there was no advertising on it. So I said, wow. I get back home, and I call up my friends at Delta Airlines. I was a consultant to Delta Airlines, and not a management consultant. I did lunches for them, and this for them, that for whenever I was around the place, and they gave me free airline tickets. Good deal.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I had a connection there. So I went up to the guys that ran marketing for Delta. I said, what do you spend on your ticket jackets every year? I don't remember, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. I said, what if I would find someone to print your ticket jackets for free? Oh, yeah, my boss would like that a lot. And so what's the catch? I said, well, what I'd like to do is take your ticket jacket and be able to, just like you have it, and we put an insert, and we have 6 pages back and forth, but just 6 pages inside the thing of advertising. And boy, if you could pull that off, that'd be great. We could go with that. So now I've got to find a printer who can print millions of ticket jackets every month. I didn't know. So I ask around. I find a guy that's up in Chicago. I've got my little friend, Marvin Bluestein. He was 5'6", older than me, smart as can be, went to Georgia Tech of all things.
That must have been a problem.
But he was the greatest personality that ever was. And had great background. And he was 20 years older than me, maybe 25. And he became my best friend, and he was smart. So I said, Marvin, we're going to New York City, boy. and we found a guy in Chicago who could print that many ticket jackets. And so he said, I've got a sales force of 10 people and we needed to sell, I think we had to have 10 pages of customers, people that would. And so I said, so we found this guy in Chicago and he had 10 salesmen. He said, yeah, I can print that many. And we could sell it for you. We could sell it. And I think we sold it for, some big number per month, 100,000 a month or whatever it was per page. And so the guy said, but I can sell all the ticket jackets for you. I mean, I get all the advertisers for you. I said, good. We get to July. He sold none. I get little Marvin. I said, we're going over July 4th. We're going to New York because on August 1st, I was a single dad, had 3 kids, and I took them for 1 month in August down to Sea Island. So I had to do it in that time frame of July. So we went in and we stayed at the Waldorf Astoria. And I went around New York and I pitched this guy and all the big companies. And after about 5 days, we had it sold out. I think it was 10 customers. They paid $100,000 per month. That's how the ticket jacket came out. And I got every airline to go with the program, all in just a couple of months. Every airline but Eastern and Braniff. They both went broke.
They don't exist.
Yeah. and they both went broke. There was an astronaut who was running Eastern. And I had a nice meeting with him. I forget his name now, but he was running Eastern, and he didn't get it, but everybody else did. United got it, Delta got it, PSA, which was then out of California, all of them got it. And so that's how we did that, and it was an opportunity that was there because and what drove it was I'm on an airline, flying back and forth to Hawaii, and there was no advertising on the ticket jacket, and it worked.
Man.
One of the things, it's interesting because I'm listening to you and it's just you're seriously, you're as big as this room, which is fantastic. And it resonates. And one of the things I think about when I'm listening to you talk is how do you teach that? Because something that Gary and I, the G-Man and I do is we try to motivate and inspire these leaders to be able to speak, to really engage their employees, their players, whatever, to really captivate them to understand how important the goal is, how important to get to the touchdown is, how important it is to win, right?
It starts with a sense of desperation. If you do not get up in the morning wanting to learn, wanting to challenge, wanting to question everything that you're doing, everything. Yeah, if you're not willing to, if you don't have that inside of your soul, you better get it in your soul or you're going to lose out. Because look at the time we're in now. Time stood still when I was playing high school football, college football, and the NFL. 4 years in high school, 4 years in college, 18 years in the NFL. That comes to 26 years. It didn't change like it is. There weren't major changes in how I quarterbacked in those 26 years.
Yeah.
The world didn't go as fast as it goes now. But I pushed the envelope because everything that made me succeed in all those things, I was coachable. I wanted to be mentored. I wanted to be coached. And then when I got to pro football, I'd call up quarterbacks that were Hall of Fame quarterbacks before I got there, and I'd call them on the phone. I'd go see them and said, teach me. Tell me what you did. Tell me how you thought. I have never felt I had it all figured out. Now, in this day and time, this is the most exciting time I've ever lived in my life, because you can change the world overnight, just overnight. And it's leveraged by technology, but you can only get that if you really lay down and say, I want to get better. I want to knock the cover off the ball. I want to make life better for my customer. And I want to And it's when you're driven to help other people, for me, I like that.
Yeah.
And so we're taking technology across the board. And it's one word technology, right? You have Zoom.
Right.
And you have the what's the company that brings food to your table?
Uber Eats.
Uber Eats or Grubhub or something like that.
Grubhub,
right?
and those people, and we have a great company called GoSmallBiz.com.
Right.
We work with entrepreneurs. We've had it for 20 years. We're going to change the name. I want a one-liner. So I've got people, I'm paying people, find me a one-liner that people can remember, because that's modern. That's what today is. So you do every little detail, and you never stop, and you talk to everybody, and you ask questions. I'm just beginning at 81. I'm learning at a faster clip now than ever before. Isn't that fun? Or I could be down at the villages playing croquet with the old people. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? Oh, I'm working on my retirement. I'm going to retire at age 62 or age 55. Why? Why?
I always say exactly that.
I don't.
You are that way.
I just don't understand that. But if that's your mindset, you're not going to get there. I mean, you can have a life because you're in America, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to work to make it in America. You can be on welfare. You're not going to live in a high, but you can make it. People do it all the time. But is that what life is about? Just to make it? Just be down and play croquet with the seniors?
I have a nephew. He was 20 years old. He wanted to be a police officer.
Yeah.
And I asked him. I said, "Well, why a police officer? Why?" Because of the retirement. Yeah. I'm all, you're 20 years old. What are you thinking about retirement for?
Well,
you got the whole life.
And in New York City, when I was there, I knew a lot of the policemen. I respect the policemen across the board.
Yes.
And they could retire at 50, 51, 52, 53, and they got great pensions. They took another job.
Yeah. Yep.
But most people don't. It doesn't become their heart and their soul.
Yeah.
If it's just a job, I got to get them to go to work. Here we have this pandemic, and I've got a house away from here that's 5 miles. And so we shut down for a few months, and I worked. I made it work. I got on the phone. I'm talking, asking, and this. But now, the last 3 or 4 months, I'm here every day. Our people don't have to come here every day, but I need to be here. I need to be here to feel the vibe.
Yeah,
right.
Man.
I need to feel the vibe, Mm-hmm. And when I go home at night, I am not exhausted. I am like charged up. So I got a beautiful, wonderful wife of 30 some years, and she happens to be the greatest cook in the world. And I come home and I'm so wired. I get me a martini. And she gets a glass of wine, and we sit down for an hour to hour and a half before dinner and talk. Because I got to release it. I got to just, and so it's fun. So I'm here every day and trying to do what? Make life better for my customers. Make life better for the people that are my partners here in our businesses.
Now that you mentioned that, Fran, one of the questions I had for you, and you've been talking about technology, and you're a big innovator, and you talked about those things. One of the questions we had is, one of my favorite maxims you had was, the mission of business is to help people.
That's it.
To help people. Do you think in today's age of technology, has any of that changed? Or has the fundamentals still stay true to you today as it was years ago?
For me, that's the mission. For too many people, the mission is to make money.
Right.
Me, the byproduct is making money.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
And you'll feel better about yourself. But there's a thing, all business people, they're bad. I'm a politician and I'm for the people. And we're bad and they're right. Washington is corrupt,
Right.
Yeah.
Republican and Democrat.
Right.
Nobody leaves there without money in their pockets.
Right.
And the American people are out here are don't understand that. They get hard right or hard left rather than say what's best for America.
Yeah.
Right.
What's best for my customer? What's best for my business partner? What's best for my friends?
Right.
And when that becomes the focus, and we get it out of us. Selfish me. I don't want to be selfish me. I want to go share my knowledge, share my partnership, help solve problems.
Yep.
Help make things work. That's that's the mission of business, is it not?
Yeah. Somebody said to me one time, you solve enough problems and the money will come.
If you solve the problems, your business is growing.
Yep.
And so you do that. And isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Isn't that fun? And that's even better than football and better than sports, because that's only a small time. For me, it was a long time, 26 years playing high school. But so many people, they play 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And what am I going to do? Most of the football players historically don't work in the offseason, don't have any other jobs. And then, and so they don't go anywhere. People, you're lucky because you were a football player. You could go on your name. If that was the case, then all the football players historically would have been millionaires. And they're broke. And this day and time, a big percentage of NFL players, by the 5th year they retired, they're broke. Because they got the money, and the guys are coming and trying to steal the money from them.
Yeah.
I got a deal for you. I got this for you. I got that for you. And they get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I've had them sit in here. They got 5, 6 guys that work for them on their payroll. I said, what does this guy do? This guy does this. This guy does this. This guy. And this one was a family friend that coordinates them all. That's what it is. That's what it is. People say, why don't you go and do a program for the football players or the basketball players or the baseball players? They don't listen. I'm not going to waste my time there.
Right.
I mean, their ego is so big because they think I'm Jesus. You know, they all the people love me and they applaud me, and I'm in the NFL and the Major League Baseball and basketball. And so I don't have time for that because they don't listen. And they're all in their world today. Then they're out of baseball. Guess what they do? They don't have anything to do. They didn't work in the off season. They didn't get another. You know how you learn to play great sports? Or you learn at a young age. You do it every day. You know how you learn to do business? You got to do it, and you got to start at a young age. That's a great asset as it is in sports to start whatever sports you're doing, but also in business. Get a paper round. Yeah. My grandkids are off to college, and if they go get a job, 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, I don't care. Then if they go there, I will go, whatever they pay you, I'll double it to quadruple it, depending on what it is. And that's the money I give them. If they don't do that, I don't give them any money.
You got to have those early experiences. I had a paper route also. In fact, I ran 2 paper routes, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, because I was like, hey, I'm not doing anything after school. I can make a little extra money.
Sure.
But I look back on that and all the lessons that taught me, because you had to buy your own rubber bands. Sure. You had to buy your own bags. Like if it rained, your costs went up because now you got to bag the papers, before you could save a little money. You don't have to bag them. And all those lessons, the hard work, and what you had to put into it, taking care of your customers. Like it would, if you did a really good job, put it on the porch where they wanted it to, or maybe you put it in the little hooks in the mailbox, you get extra tip. Like there's so many lessons that you learn from doing that.
Well, you learn from working, and this country has not understood that.
Yeah.
Because
we got rid of it.
Because what we do, if you can go on welfare in this country, you're not going to starve to death. Mm-hmm. And so we enable these wonderful people, much talented as the rest of us here. We enable them to do nothing. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
Oh, we're taking care of all the people. No, you're not. You're driving them into poverty. And still goes on, doesn't it?
Yep.
It goes on, and it doesn't get better, and we wonder why. Yeah. Well, it's pretty obvious. If you don't get out there, if you don't have ambition to go out and do something and work and be responsible and help people, then what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to smoke dope all day, or I'm going to drink myself to death all day, or I'm going to go out and rob banks or shoot up people. Whatever I'm going to do, right? But
whatever fills the time.
Yeah.
So I can't, I know we're running a little overtime, and but I can't let you go without knowing when you went and you started the software business in
about 81, 82.
Case
computer aided software engineering. Spelled K-C-A-S-E.
So what draw you to that? Because that was like pre-internet, pre-computers on everybody's desk.
It was opportunity. I didn't know any technology. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't have a history in that. But some people came to me and said, this is a little company in Long Island. They got this. It makes sense. And they can't make it. And they're going to go bankrupt, or you can take them over. So I moved the 4 leaders down here. I took them over, and I said, I got people's help to say, is this got a chance? Yeah, that was good. Doesn't mean it's going to work. So I worked on that for 3 or 4 years. I had 4 salespeople, and I was losing probably $1 million a year.
Wow.
And we could make it work. And so here's the other thing in life. You cannot do it by yourself.
Yeah.
I cannot win football games by myself. Tom Brady cannot win football games. You can't build a business by yourself. You've got to have partners. So I am sitting here in this building, and I've got a chief technical officer who's overweight, let's say. But he was brilliant. So I'm saying to him, I said, Mike, what can we do to make this thing work? Because it's not working. We're losing money every month, every quarter. He said, we ought to get a partnership with IBM. This is 1982. With IBM. They were it.
Yeah.
There weren't any Googles and this and that. If it weren't for IBM, there wouldn't be Intel, there wouldn't be Microsoft and so forth. They were the king of kings, lord of lords. So IBM. So I didn't know anybody at IBM, but I read their chairman's name, and I figured he might not be a football fan. So I called him up, and I said, I apologize for calling you. I know that you're busy. I appreciate you taking my call, but I played football. I know who you are. And I said, well, I've got this chief technical officer here, but he's my only technical person here. And he tells me we have a product that fits IBM well, and we ought to partner with IBM. I laugh at him. But I just said, I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to the chairman of IBM to say, and I've got him laughing now. And he said, well, yeah. I said, what would you like to do? I said, I'd like to just meet one of your engineers and shut this guy up. He said, okay, I'll arrange a meeting. Well, IBM didn't have a meeting with one-on-one. They bring 20 people in the room, right? And they're all in their blue suits and their coat and ties and the whole deal. So I schlepped up to White Plains, New York, and I got my big chief technical officer with me, and I've also got 24 footballs. So I use what assets you have, right?
Right.
And so I went up there, and here they come to this meeting, 24 of them in their blue suits. And I know they're saying, why am I having a meeting with this guy who's a jock? He doesn't know anything about technology, and he's right. I didn't know anything about technology. So I come up, and I have a stopwatch with me, and I got my man there. And I said, I know that your chairman told you to be here. And I don't feel good about that. But I'm only going to be here for 30 minutes. And I got a stopwatch here, and I'm going to turn that on right now. And I've got 24 footballs here. If you got kids or grandkids, and I'm going to personalize these after the 30 minutes, and you take them home there. It won't be a total wasted period for you. And with that, let my guy talk. So he talks. 30 minutes, clock goes off. I said, thank you very much. This has really been great. I would like to offer you these personalized balls, and I'll do that. No. We want the balls, but we'd like to ask more questions. Stayed there another 3 hours. And we were doing about $2 million a year in sales and losing probably $1 million a year. And so we'd like to come down and see you. Well, they come down. They'll come down in this building we're in right now, Tower Place, right here in Buckhead. So they don't come down with 1 or 2 or 3. They came down with 24 people. And they raked us over the coals, but they were nice and da-da-da-da-da, showed them everything. So John Akers, the chairman of IBM, calls me 2 days later. He said, we want to partner with you, but we would like to have an equity in your company. And how much money would you like to put in our company, John? He said, $10 million. I said, $10 million. My company's not worth anything. We lose money. I cannot let you do that. Well, we want to be an equity partner in this. And we want to put $10 million into it. I said, okay, you tell me what percentage you want of that $10 million. I'm not sure it's worth $1, but you tell me what you want. He said, give us 20% and we'll give you $10 million and let's go. And we'll sell your products all over Europe and all over the United States. We went from 1 or 2 million a year in sales to 129 million in sales in 2 years.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Now, every business that I'm in, I've got partners. And if you don't have partners, you cannot scale. So my partners are big companies. I won't name them now, don't want to embarrass them, but big companies, the biggest companies in the world. And they come here to work with us on projects that help small business entrepreneurs. And we are knocking the cover off the ball and doing things that I never thought would be possible. But we're helping entrepreneurs, small business people, be able to get in front of more prospects and convert them to customers without having a $8 billion budget that they can't afford to get television, radio. Nobody listens to radio anyway, right?
Right. Not anymore.
And so you gotta have a digital platform.
Right.
You gotta have a digital platform. You better have somebody in Fang that likes you. Billy Bob down the street cannot give you that's going to go out and do what you need to have done, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So you got to have partners. But so many people don't understand that because they think partnership, what can you do for me? Not what I can do for you.
Yes.
Right.
And so as I did my negotiations with IBM, it wasn't, here's what I want. Tell me what you want. And I told John Akers, you make a bad deal. This is not good. But it was a good deal because they made money as well as we made money.
He definitely saw something. Like he saw
Must
the
have.
genius in it.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I know.
That's absolutely
There was a show on television called That's Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never missed an episode.
Yeah.
You had something to do with that a little bit.
John Davidson and Kathleen Crosby and I did that on Monday nights for 5 years, ABC.
Yeah. It was honestly, when I was a kid, it was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it immensely.
I will give you one more. I was the first sports guy that ever hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, I love that. I saw that.
And
It's
that was the Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Bill Murray,
Yeah.
and all the great women that were on there, and so I didn't know anything about television, and I'm going to be the MC for the night, and it's live, Saturday Night Live, and so we went through a rehearsal before that same night after practice for 2 days, and we got through half the show, but they wanted me to do 5 deals, and I didn't know how to do them, and I had a monitor and all that stuff. So I got Bill Murray. I said, Bill, I want you to do each one of these 5 episodes that we're going to do, and I want to see you do them like you do them. Now I cannot do them like you do them, but I need to see a visual of how it's done and how it's done, and that's how I got through it. And it was a great rated show then. They had reruns and the thing worked. But there again, what did I do? I got mentors.
Yep.
I got somebody who knew what they were doing, who could coach me to be able to not make a complete fool of myself on Saturday Night Live. And I went for an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And so that whole thing, if we leave your people with one thing, be willing to be mentored. Never think you got all the answers. You got to be coached every day. You got to be able to progress every day. And you need to be able to reach out to people who can mentor you, even though your name is Tom Brady, you've won 8 zillion Super Bowls, and your coach is a journeyman quarterback, and he's 5 years younger than you, and you ask him, Brian, coach me. That'll help make us better.
Man.
Can't end, dude. That's the best. You gotta just drop the mic. It's over. Like, this episode's over, bro. Like, I'm not gonna ask anything else. Like, that was it.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Awesome.
Wow, that was incredible. So, yeah, I'm done. All right, guys. Well, this is it. Hard Shop Life with Coach Jay and the
G-Man.
with special guests, Mr. Fran Tarkenton, the legend, incredible businessman. You guys got some really amazing insights, and so thank you so much, Fran. Like, it is an actual honor. Incredible. I want to give a huge shout out to Amanda, who made all this happen. Thank you so much for trusting in us and believing in JDI to give us an opportunity.
And let me give you one more thing. Amanda's here. The best business people that I've worked with in my life are women. They're better than us. And so you women out there, get in the game.
Yeah.
Because
right.
you'll make this a better country. You'll make your companies better companies. And for you bosses out there, recruit more women.
Yes.
I agree.
100%.
100% agree.
100%.
100% agree. All right, well, that is Hard Shop Life. We'll get you guys on the on the flip side. But again, Fran, Amanda, the team here at Tarkenton Financial, thank you so much for everything you guys have done. The Tarkenton companies, all of them. And thank you for everything, and we appreciate it. And I think that should be it.